Brazil. We've all seen their squad and we are all mesmerized by how good they look, and they're probably the favorites to win the whole thing. Their forwards, the midfielders, so many options for the coach to choose from. But that brings a headache, and not only for the coach, but also for us, the fantasy managers. But who should we be having in our teams? Let me know in the comment section. How many Brazil players do you currently have in your draft? How many players are you thinking of getting in? Is there a specific player that you're looking at before the deadline hits on Sunday? Are you happy with one player? Are you happy with two players? Have you already made your decision? Let me know in the comment section. We all know how good they are, but which players should you be choosing? So I'm going to be talking about a couple of assets, the main ones that a lot of people have, and a lot of people are leaving out. So those are the ones we are going to focus on for this video. Now, Neymar. We have to talk about Neymar first. This guy has been exceptional so far for PSG this season, and he's been exceptional for Brazil throughout his career, especially the last few games as well. Now, in terms of Brazil's record, he has 75 goals in 121 games, so he will be looking to break the record, Pele's record. He's still going for Pele's record, and he has the opportunity of doing it at a World Cup, which is just magnificent. Obviously, we know he's going to be taking the penalties against Japan and against South Korea back in June. He scored 3 goals, and all 3 of them were penalties in those matches. We all know about the shots on target. He loves taking a shot as well. From free kicks, he can do that too. And we all know you're going to get points from shots on target, and he'll definitely give you that. So in terms of more stats, for PSG this season, he scored 15 goals in 20 games, which is pretty good. And also in a recent friendly against Tunisia in September, he scored once again. In qualifying, he had 41 goal attempts. We know how important that is in terms of shots on target on the World Cup fantasy. You're going to get points for that. So even if he doesn't score and gets an assist and 4 shots on target, you're looking at a lot of points. In the game, he's going to cost you 10.5 million. Now, I know people are avoiding that because it seems to be a bit too expensive, but I can tell you 10.5 million is not expensive for Neymar at all. That is definitely worth that 10.5 million. I think many people should have him, if not all. During qualifying, he scored 8 goals and had 8 assists as well. That is incredible. No one came close. Richarlison had 6, but in terms of assists, the next player had 2 assists. So 16 goal returns in the qualifying, and you would expect him 100% to start probably all 3 games. They're still fighting for top spot last time. And even if they've already qualified, I'd be surprised if Neymar started in the final game as well and maybe came off early, but it's a very good option. Now, I don't think you can have someone else in place of Neymar. If you're going to have Neymar plus another Brazilian in the team, that is fine. Now, let's take a look at the prices in terms of their team. So they have Vinicius, is a forward, 10.5 million, same with Neymar. Jesus, 9 million, same forward as well. Rafinha, another forward, 8.5. Rodrigo, another forward, 8.5 as well. And then they have Anthony, the same price. And then midfielders as well. Bruno Guimaraes, Martinelli is a forward as well, 8 million. Richarlison is another forward, 7.5 million. Pedro, 7 million. Paqueta, Everton, Fabinho, Fred, Casemiro, Alisson, Thiago Silva, Ederson, Danilo, Marquinhos. Like, even just reading this squad is incredible, man. Like, literally 2-3 good players every single position. Now, the thing is, very good squad, but when it comes to picking the players, it becomes a headache. Which player should we be going for? Now, I think Neymar has to be in your team. He's highly selected. By the time you get to the deadline, he will be very, very highly owned as well. Maybe even 50% or something like that. Maybe only Messi and Mbappe will be close to him. And that is something. Like, if you don't have Neymar for that game again on the last day on Thursday, whenever they're playing Serbia and Cameroon and Switzerland, if you don't have Neymar, you're going to really, really be in a lot of trouble. Like, watching that game, he will definitely return. Like, I'm not doubting it at all. I think he will definitely contribute at least 5 attacking returns, like in the group stage alone. I'd not be surprised if they scored 4-5 goals against all these 3-4-5 goals against even the likes of Switzerland and Serbia. They're pretty good, and he's definitely worth all that. They're enjoying themselves in training, smiling, everything. So Neymar for sure has to be in the squad. Now, who's the second option we can get, not in place of Neymar, to add to Neymar's potential as well. Now we've gone through all those players' prices. You're going to talk about Richarlison because he's the one who's been on magnificent form for them in terms of qualifying and recent friendlies. He's actually been given the number 9 shirt, and he'll probably start as the number 9 if he's 100% fit. Now he scored 6 in the last 6 games. He scored 7 goals. He's been returning a lot, especially in the recent friendlies. He's been returning a lot from the number 9 position, and the creativity behind him is not lacking. Like, he has Neymar, Vinicius, Anthony, Rafinha, so the creativity is there. You'd expect them to have a lot of opportunities. Now, a lot of people are going for Richarlison instead of Neymar because it's only going to cost you 7.5 million. So I definitely understand that, but I don't think you can go for him in place of Neymar. Right now, it's still an injury doubt, so there's a slight chance he might not even start in match day 1, but start the other 2 match days. So if he doesn't start, at least you already have Neymar. But if he ends up starting and you also have Neymar, if Neymar scores, it's going to be Richarlison assisting, or the other way around. Probably if Richarlison scores, it's going to be Neymar assisting. So I think Richarlison is the second player in terms of attacking forwards you should be going for. He scored twice against Ghana in one of the friendlies in September, and he also scored against Tunisia. So I think he's a pretty good option as well. 7.5 million, I think, is a bargain. If the coach confirms that he'll 100% start against their first game on Thursday, then I'll for sure be looking at him as well as an option. I think he's very, very good. And him and Neymar, I think, are the ones who are, if Richarlison is fit, I think the 2 of them are the ones that are definitely going to start. But the other positions, it's pretty difficult. So if they start in 4-2-3-1 with the number 10, they could have Richarlison up front, Neymar as the number 10, Vinicius on the left, Rafinha on the right. But they could also decide to go with only 3 forwards and 3 midfielders. So maybe drop Vinicius to the bench and have Neymar on the left side, and then add like a Paqueta in midfield or someone like that, or a Bruno Guimaraes. It's literally up to them. But I feel like if he goes for 4 forward players, like, they could get a bunch of goals. Now, the last 2 friendlies against Ghana and Tunisia, I think they've had a couple. There's one that they started with Paqueta, and there's one that they started with Neymar as the number 10. So it's very difficult to predict who they're going to start with, but I'm assuming they're going to go with Neymar as the number 10, Vinicius on the left, Rafinha on the right, and Richarlison up front. Speaking of Rafinha, he's not a bad option as well, especially if he starts on that right side. He started against Ghana and Tunisia, and against Tunisia he scored 2 goals in a 5-1 win. So he's definitely a good option as well. But the problem with these players is Neymar is the only one I feel like is going to play 90 minutes. Rafinha, he has someone like a Rodrigo who could come on that right side. He has Anthony who could come on that right side in place of him. Vinicius as well. Martinelli could come on that side. Pedro and Jesus could come on for Richarlison up front as well. So I think Neymar is the one who's going to play at least 2 90-minute games. So all the others, you need to be very careful. But I think that is how they're going to line up, at least for the first game. But they could very easily change everything for the second game and go for Anthony instead of Rafinha, and then Neymar starts again, Richarlison starts again, but on the left, they start with Martinelli or someone. So that could happen as well. So it's very difficult to predict. But all those 3 guys, fantastic options. In terms of players, Rodrigo, Anthony, in terms of players, they're all good. But in terms of starting, I'm not sure. Now, in match day 3, they become very interesting. If it starts with the same team for the first 2 match days and they win easily and they finish top of the group before they play the 3rd game, if you're playing a wildcard in match day 3, I think you need to get in a couple of players who have not played yet. Let's say Vinicius doesn't play in match day 1 or 2. Pretty sure he's going to play in match day 3. Or Anthony doesn't start in match day 1 or 2. Pretty sure he's going to start in match day 3. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. Even if you don't have your wildcard in match day 3, even if you're just making transfers, I feel like you need to take a punt on one of the players who haven't played yet. Now, in terms of defenders, we need to talk about the guy next to Neymar here, Marquinhos. He's the player that started the most games in qualifying, 14 games out of the 18 that they played. He played 14 of them. It's always a good option as well in terms of defense. It's also very hard to predict their defense. I've seen a couple of predicted lineups. Some are saying Telles on the left, some are saying Sandro, some are saying Danilo on the right, some are saying Dani Alves. I think Thiago Silva and Marquinhos are definitely going to start, but they also have Militao, so you never know. But I think Marquinhos is definitely going to start. And then in terms of goalkeeper, Alisson. And if you look at their record in terms of qualifying, So I think for Marquinhos it was 14 out of 17 games, or 13 out of 14 games. He started out of the 17 games. Sorry. So the clean sheets, they kept 13 clean sheets out of those 17 games they played in qualifying. That is crazy. Like they only considered 5 goals in the whole qualifying campaign. So I'd not be surprised if they kept clean sheets. I know I said I've predicted a couple of 3-1 wins for them against Switzerland and Serbia, but I'd not be surprised if they kept at least 2 clean sheets in that group. So I think 2 players from Brazil is what you should be going for. And if you go for 3, I'd not be arguing with you at all. I think they're all very good options. So let me know in the comment section which player should you be going for. I don't think you can go for anyone in place of Neymar. I think Neymar has to be there. And then you can have a second option in terms of either Rafinha or Richarlison if you prefer. Or midfield, I've not talked about the midfielders, but I think Casemiro is the one who should start, and then defensively Marquinhos or Alisson. But Ederson could easily come on for the second or third game. So let me know, who are you going to be going for in your team? Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you on the next one.